Administrative reports. Maintenance.
Maintenance, I referred to Mr. Robert Martinez.
White copy in front of you is just schedules. Everything's been going on.
Gym board off the Easter got redone. Sent pictures of that, looks pretty good. Feels good, we can get on it officially on the 9th. They asked us to come stay out for a week, so.
Who's gonna get on it?
Huh?
Did you get on it?
Well, if they do any type of practices or training,
Directions on how to clean it have been given. Fiber dust mop and, what is the other one called? It's the big white one.
just white buffer top.
White buffer pad. No chemicals, no anything on it.
Leaf blower.
Yeah. I'm not checking the blow by.
Have you seen that pretty, that makes sense.
Please blow it.
What are the two motors on the walk-in? What are they? No, but which one is it?
The one out of Easter.
Goes down here?
Yeah.
Because I thought we had just, walk-in cooler was that one. Yeah. But that was the high school. No, the walk-in cooler, this is the walk-in freezer. Oh,
Yeah, they gave, so they have to be replaced.
We still need to do the one with the,
mm-hmm.
that's the whole room and everything, huh?
Not for every. We applied for a grant for that.
So did we ever get the repairs done to the tech building?
Which one?
We had a bunch of findings or red
We-
tags or?
We did the majority of them.
Yeah.
The stuff that was causing issues for us not to actually be in the building,
Yeah.
it still needs a lot more repairs, but it's where it could be at least be used at this point.
Yeah, so when we had NMCA come and do their walkthrough, they did approve that it could be used because of the things that have been done to the building. Yeah.
Costilla's okay?
As far as it can be, yeah, it's nothing further on it, but it's still. Any more questions for maintenance? Hearing none, we will move on. Check.
Check right for Mr. Bill Monday.
I do.
Hey guys,
Hey, Bill.
doesn't seem to be too much there. Network's been running well. You know, we have some open projects we're just waiting on, but there's one that we're gonna start, two actually. Cabling, that was just part of our initial proposal. The patch panels, patch cords, all that stuff. The patch panels are good, but just the cabling, get that all nice and clean, because they're 10-foot cables, you only need 3. So I've got pretty much a list of what I'm gonna get for that. That can be done really any time. It'll take the networks, different areas down for a little bit, so. And then the gym sound system has been approved. We should have a schedule or a time frame for you guys by Monday or Tuesday next week of when. It'll probably be within a couple of weeks of that, that we are able to do it.
They'll be in before the floor gets
Yes.
redone. That
Yes.
way.
Hopefully.
When's the floor scheduled?
Not till August.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that'd be good.
We might get it done before July 1st, but
How are you gonna reach up there?
you guys have one of those, no, we're renting one, it's in our proposal. So,
Genie?
lift.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because we've had issues just to hang a banner in there.
And I'm not just, if you have anything you need done while we have it,
Yeah.
that's not gonna take,
Can you mention it?
but yeah.
Yeah, lots to do.
Yeah, because we figure it'll take, we're gonna put all hands on deck, five of us, it will probably take 4 days. We won't be using the lift the whole time, so yeah, we could easily do that.
Thank you. We'll get you a leaf blower.
Up top there, I bet there's a lot of
Well,
dust.
you're up there, you might
Might as well, yeah.
give it.
Yeah, we're not hitting every spot, right? We're just kind of got the rows, but we
Yeah.
we can, yeah.
What was going on when the hail, were you there? It was the hail over there, getting dust falling off of the Inside of the new.
And
Inside room.
A couple years ago or so.
Oh.
I don't know what the heck it was for.
Hasn't held in a while.
I mean, other than that, we've been taking very few issues with Chromebooks, with networks going down. Wireless is working good, so. Yeah.
How about those the gates? Do you guys mess around with that or
Gates.
electric openers?
Oh.
Like,
No, but I mean, if there was gonna be like a door access out there, we get involved with the gate guys to get that set up.
badging, I don't know, that would open it.
Yeah, yeah. You can see, like, you were just talking about the BOAG, we've got some things doing there when you're ready. I think the guard shacks are gonna get powered soon, as soon as those are in, we already bought the equipment, we'll get the bridges connected. I guess I'll say too, I mean, if I can say thank you, I heard you're gonna renew our contract, so appreciate that. If you need anything paperwork wise, it's only gonna be 3 times the cost this year, He's not laughing. Not the same price, we're not changing anything.
I guess I know we're good at the next meeting.
Oh, God, I get all this off.
Any other questions for technology?
Camera's good, everybody's, I mean, there might be a few adjustments, like I said, I talked to Kimberly.
Yeah, that's the plan now is, now that we're doing our summer cleaning, what we'll do is run through all the cameras and make sure they're pointed where we need them, and if not, we'll start adjusting.
Okay,
Clean the lenses, that's a big part.
I got a couple of them, but yeah, we can do that, we can hit each one. Probably take a week.
Yeah, and then we have, our in-house person that's going, starting to take down some of those old ones. that
Oh,
is
okay.
mounted, yeah.
Cool.
I guess when we're on technology, have you found any new tech to invest in the classroom?
So I did have a meeting with, his name was Andrew Sanchez, and they have some like additional smart board style things, but they're supposed to be like a 20-point touch, and so it's something that we talked to Mr. Mundy about too, kind of getting a bid out there to see what the cost of those. His were running about $6,000 a piece. It's, again, it's, you know, you can drop tech into it. When we look at curriculum, most of our curriculum that we're looking at purchasing has the tech component, but it's majority book and workbook and that type, so it really wasn't. One of the big issues that now that we collected all these Chromebooks is that we had a good number of these Chromebooks that were damaged, that were broken screens, they're under warranty, so we'll send them back for warranty work, but the thing is I think that at this point we need to stop sending these Chromebooks home with kids. If they're gonna be used, they're gonna be used in school and only in school, because it's crazy because it wasn't at the elementary, it was at the high school that most of them were destroyed. And I don't mean destroyed, like there was one that completely, the mouse pad was completely yanked off of it and torn out of it, and so.
The student was billed, right?
Yes. So a student will not, so the way we wrote it is a student will not receive a new one unless they pay the full amount for the damaged one, even though it does fall under warranty. That's really the second Chromebook that student had destroyed. And so they will pay that bill, and then we will not, if the parent wants a Chromebook, the parent will need to purchase a Chromebook for their student. We can't keep handing out these Chromebooks and getting them back looking like this. It was bad.
So do we accommodate them if they're not gonna use a Chromebook?
The way we're moving is, like I said, with the books that we're ordering, like the science curriculum we're looking at is a full-blown book and workbook curriculum. It's not, doesn't need the online base. The only piece that the teacher they could use their smart board to do the online labs and those types of things that would happen, but it's not looking in any sense that they would need that full-blown Chromebook to take home to do any type of work or anything like that. It would be paper pencil type of work.
Good.
So yeah, so to answer your question, yes, we've been looking into tech.
Is that the reason why this driver's ed class, the one that's gonna be online, they're gonna have to come and do computers here at the school.
Yes.
When is that going to be? Is it supposed to start?
What I was told is it was only an 8-hour course, and so they're looking at 2 hours a day coming in. And so the person that was hired to even run it needs to be on campus to be able to monitor. Same thing with our credit recovery kids. They would have to come in person and do it in person because we're not gonna start sending this tech home. It was, when we collected this stuff, it was crazy the amount of damage that we saw to these Chromebooks. It was bad. I had never seen that many broken computers and Chromebooks than I've seen in the past 2 weeks since we collected all this stuff.
What kind of, what kind of percentages you think you got damaged?
I would say about at least a quarter of them.
That's high.
Yeah.
Okay.
I remember you could check out, like you did turn in the cables for your when they added the iPad. You can even check your student out unless you paid for the charger and replaced it. That was the way it used to be.
Yeah, so well, that's the way it's going back, because even with transcripts and stuff, we help transcripts for students that do a little money. We did collect on those, same with like the chargers. I know people said you're charging $50 for a charger. Well, that's what the actual brand charger costs. I know you can buy them off of Amazon for $15, but the thing is an Amazon charger is not the same as the one that came with it, and so that would encourage some of these parents to go and say, let's look for this charger, let's figure out where it is. But if we can keep these here on campus, then that's going to make things 100 times easier. Honestly, the number that we had at the elementary, we had a couple of accidentals, but it was maybe 3 or 4, not like we had from the
But they're not
high school.
really utilized too much down there.
Huh? No, they're not utilized as much. They're used for like your iStation and those types of things. There's some Khan Academy that they'll do off of it, but not the way the high school. The thing is, the high school was just kind of taking them back and forth, and they were just, sometimes they use, sometimes they not, but those bags were getting tossed. And this is being that they had a case on them, which a lot of places don't even put a case on them. And so this had a case on them, but the number of broken cracked screens that we saw, keys missing off of the keyboard. The one that blew me away was the mouse pad that was just completely ripped out of that. I was like, how the heck did you manage to do that?
It's very much, that's what I found in the other schools. It's like the middle schoolers and the high schools are neck and neck and destroying them. And the little guys, they put them back in the cases and take good care of them,
Well, it's even like headphones. We purchased headphones for the elementary, and I think we're replacing maybe about 10 pairs of headphones. And so that's at the elementary, so the elementary really took care of all that stuff, and they knew what they used it for. So it's just a big difference. So that's something that we sat down and talked about. Is I told our IT person, the one on in-house, that I said I don't want those going home. I said I'm sorry these drivers ed kids are gonna have to come in-house and take the course, but it's just the way it's gonna have to work. We can't keep sending that out. So I said, get me the number that we need. They'll be there. They can check them out for the day, work in-house, and then when they leave, check it back in.
Of course, it's technology. Just good.
SPED already through Miss Mary Jean Hagman.
Hey guys, thank you. Continue, yes, correct.
We had our IDB application open up. It's now in 3 phases. So I completed phase 1, we got approval for first part. Second part, I'm waiting for it to open, but it's because we need the preschool allocation and they haven't sent them out. So I'm just waiting for that. In that event, the Walsh Gallegos Handbook of Special Education Policies is getting updated, and I have to upload it, but I need approval from you guys. So that'll be cleaned up. And then at the end of the 3rd phase, completion of the ID application, I need all your signatures and approval for it so I could submit it. And then caseloads are already ready for next school year. They're already done. I actually did at the elementary the FTEs for each classroom of special ed teachers already. Special ed students in each class. I shared it with Mr. Maldonado. I've already completed also, and the high school's ready to start their scheduling. I already have a list of what kids need, what classes, inclusion, pull out, everything, as well as the middle school. Color coded. Oh, and I already submitted to STARS, and that's done. end of the year. So,
Awesome job. Thank you.
mhm.
Principal.
Our principal is on a pilgrimage, kind of just filling where they're at right now. We are starting credit recovery and our program, our ESY program next week. That will run for 3 weeks. During that 3 weeks, they will receive continuing education. That will also include meals. We will be feeding lunch from the 12th to the 27th of July, with the week of 4th of July, no lunch. So it'll be 5 weeks worth of lunch, Monday through Thursday. I believe it's from 11 to 12 is what the feeding time would be. It would be at the high school cafeteria. We'll get something sent out. We kind of were on the last end of that because as of yesterday, we didn't have a cook to do it. So we do have a cook now, and then we have another person that's interested in it. So we'll get that funded and get that rolling. And that's the Seamless Summer Feeding Program is what that is called. So it's through a federal grant as well.
For all the students.
It's for any student from age 0 to 18 years old. It's open to, even if they're not in the district. So if somebody comes and visits grandma, grandpa, aunt, uncle, whatever during the summer, they're more than welcome to
How do they base,
to be fair.
how do you base on what you need to make?
That's gonna be the rough part, so it'll be based off of the first couple of days. That will kind of give them a rough estimate of the number that they would need to prep for. So as of right now, we don't know a number. We kind of went off, I think last year's meeting was 49. So I think what they went off was 50 for this year to kind of start off with, and then we can lower and higher if we need to from there.
50 kids a day?
Yes. Yeah, that's about what we were getting. That was though including like our ESY and stuff like that kids as well, our ESY and our credit recovery kids, so that will be kind of ESY and credit recovery and the drivers that will all be housed at the high school for the purpose to be able to deep clean that building and get that building ready to go. They're pulling out things now. We've hired some additional help over the summer to be able to help our custodians, working hours with them. So we have 4 additional people working. They're assigned 3 of them are assigned there. 1 of them is up here, just because they have an additional custodian up there. Plus one of our maintenance guys is stepping in and kind of helping out with that. So plan is to have that building fully done, completed. I mean, from shampooing carpets to making sure towards the end, waxing floors, stripping floors, waxing floors. Really there's no wax, so it should be a pretty quick clean and whatever. Including painting the back floors, like the back hallway that are painted. We want to paint those and get those down. If there's walls, one of the work orders that are put in, what we had went to is 4 teachers. We went and kind of looked at the walls. 4 teachers will get their walls painted this year, and then we'll do a rotation of 4. There's no way we'll be able to paint every classroom. So what we figured is we'll go 4 at a time until we hit them all, and then kind of just start the rotation over again. That's kind of been the plan. So I did meet with them, and I'll kind of touch on that in my report, but we did meet with them this week on Monday with additional support of this is the plan, this is where we're at. They have a daily checklist of this is what needs to be completed by X, Y, and Z, and this is where we should be, and so that's kind of where we're standing right now with them. Report cards, I believe, will be distributed next week. We just rolled everything over, getting ready to close it out. We did run into an issue at the high school with transcript-wise where it's pulling a 0.25 credit instead of a half credit. And so that, until we make that correction, we won't completely close it out and roll everything over. So elementary will be ready. I think elementary ran into one issue too with one of our teachers is saying that grades weren't entered. And so we need to go and figure out where those grades went. But we'll have those by tomorrow, and then we'll have those closed out and ready to distribute by next week, and we'll just mail those out. So any other questions on principal stuff?
Superintendent.
Cool, so you have mine in front of you. Just like I said, it hasn't been, we've been doing some other issues on the sense, and it was kind of more of a time. Adam's dealing with the village oil follow-up, that's kind of been the big one. Welsh and Gallegos, we did meet on some personnel, some CRT policy, religious exemptions, which we did submit to them on portion of a policy that we did find. They did respond to that. I know that they had reached out, said that they were going to reach out to President Royale. That might be something that we may need to pull into executive for the next go round, or to a special meeting if we want to push it into something like that. So that's kind of where we're at. We just have to make sure that when we do anything that we're within the law and stay within the law of where we need to be. The policy that we had pulled was actually out of Colorado, and so because it's out of state, their laws and our laws are different, and so we just need to make sure that we stay within the law of what has been put out there, so we can kind of get a little deeper into that. One gym floor was done, came out good. We're able to, what they call a soft walk on it, where you can just kind of walk and not run and slide or anything on it, and so we did walk it. It fills, you can fill before you would slide all over. You kind of rub your feet on it now, and it doesn't go anywhere. Came out good. They did say that probably the next go round it would need a full redo if there was a next round, but that should be for anywhere between 2 to 3 years, depending on the care. Already made it very clear to our staff in that building that the way it needs to be cared for is the dust mop and the microfiber mop, nothing else, nothing more. no machinery, nothing like that, and no chemicals on it. Just the water is all that we need to clean it. We do have another piece that if we needed to use, then it was like more of a soap style cleaner that wouldn't damage it because it's actually made for that type of flooring. So, but ultimately we don't want anything on that floor. We just want it to be, the bleachers will be done now next week. They have the plan coming out on the 14th is the day that they have a plan. It'll take them probably about 4 days to complete that process of removing the old ones and putting on the new ones. We will put the tarps across it so that make sure that if they lay anything on the floor, then it's laid onto the tarps, so the tarps will get put back onto that. Once that's done, that gym's pretty much good to go with use and everything else. So we did get some additional CTE funding, got about $10,300 of CTE money. We did apply for that through the Perkins grant. And so with the Perkins grant, it's for CTE. We initially looked at it with our welding shop, but we have a potential hire of a ag teacher. And so with the schedule we're looking at, this ag teacher would teach 5 periods of ag and 2 periods of science. And so that would give the ability to be able to use some of this money. So I reallocated this money to go towards ag. Some of the things that this individual has asked for. As of right now, letters of anybody that we have interviewed and potentially will hire have been sent out. I believe we had 1 reject just because of a living situation, but beyond that, we have 4 that have accepted. So,
Don't break no laws, John.
huh?
Don't break no laws.
Don't break no laws, yeah. So that was kind of so no, she's not able to find a house to live, so a living situation, yeah. Yeah, they couldn't secure a residence is what it was.
Okay, let's move on.
Okay, so yeah, we submitted those. Ed plan, we did get back and it was approved, which was pretty good to get it knocked out in the first shot. Outdoor basketball goals, we did order those. Still looking at the funding on how exactly to work, trying to finagle some money around on outdoor shelters. One of them I'm good, the second one I'm not good because it came up to about 20-some thousand, but I'm trying to move around some of our, what we call social emotional money. I'm trying to play and how, and so we came up with actually task Miss Alabama to find me how to word this so that it's social emotional, and so there's a lot on outdoor learning and how these structures and things. So I did ask Domingo to submit and ask for approval for us to be able to purchase through some family index money that deals with social emotional. So we should be moving on that shortly. And once I kind of get an answer on that, then we'll go. But we're good at least on goals and at least one of those outdoor structures for the time being. Just a heads up, election will be, school board election will submit June 10th, or in between June 10th, we have between June 10th and July 10th to send a notice that we will be opening up 2 positions. I believe it was 1 and 2, is that what it was? Remember?
District 1,
Yes.
position 1 and 2.
Position 1 and 2.
When do we have to declare?
You have to declare, let's see,
I think it's latter part of August.
August 29th, deadline of between 9 a.m. and 5 p.m. for candidates to file declaration of candidacy. So you have, the 29th is the last day of August, and the first day is,
I think it's after July 10th.
Something like
It
that.
opens after we
yeah, it
declare.
doesn't say, it just gives me the last day here. So that's the last day that you have to declare. Did attend the NMSBA Law Conference.
How was that?
Changed.
How was that?
It was alright.
Anything interesting there?
Yeah, I walked into one that was supposed to be on cannabis and weed and the schools, and they moved the room and it was all on transgender, and so I got a spill on not breaking the law with transgender students and transgender adults. Basically, we don't ask, they don't tell type of deal, which little different on that. We have to treat them just like we do any other employee or any other student, anything that goes in between it. We can't, now when it comes to like anime rules and stuff like that, they have to participate in the gender division of what they were at birth. So if it was a male that's transitioning to a female, they have to participate as a male, not as a female. So that's one of the big things.
What does it say about bathrooms?
Bathrooms, they are still, if we do not have transgender, trans-neutral is what they're called, trans-neutral bathrooms, they are to use the restroom of what the sex that they were born as, unless they have filed, so they have to basically declare that if they are identified now as a female, they have to be able to prove that they are going through the process of becoming a female. So that doesn't mean ultimately the surgeries, doesn't mean that they have to have, it just means that they have to, it's a difference between like estrogen and testosterone levels between the male transition, or the female transitioning to a male and the male transitioning to a female. And that still has to be, but if they're not, then they would have to use, it's the same thing with like locker rooms and things like that. If they were a person that had identified as a female. Now, they could ask to use a separate locker room, and that would be at the discretion of the school district if you were to allow them to use an other locker room. So it's a lot of it is still up to local school board, and that was one of the big things that they said, like with bathrooms. They did really highly encourage that you have at least one bathroom that you would call a neutral bathroom that could both be used by a female and a male, is what they had said. Now, normally with those bathrooms, this doesn't mean that it's your bathroom that has all your stalls. It's usually a single bathroom, kind of like they have in places where they call them family restrooms and things like that, yeah.
We got one of those?
Yeah, I'd like to know.
No, we don't.
That's the faculty
It's a
bathroom.
faculty bathroom.
Same thing.
It's a faculty bathroom though, and it's usually locked, so we don't have it, the students, and it's locked for that reason, so that a student can't go in there, or two students can't go in there and anything else.
But they still gotta bring the birth certificate.
Yes, yes. And then it's
whole separate issue.
yeah, it's a whole
not
separate
big
issue.
deal, Yeah.
It's just
That's good to
basically,
be on
it's
the agenda
basically
item.
in a classroom, if you have, and that was one thing that they did address, that if in a classroom you had a male that was transitioning to a female and now she identified as a female, and even name change, things like that, that just the respect of referring to them as her or well, pronoun is really whatever they choose, but referring to them by their name. And that's the one thing that they did kind of emphasize, is to stay on name. Don't say, so if they like say the kid was James and all of a sudden it became Jamie, then just refer to them as Jamie. Don't refer to them as a him or her or anything like that. That was their
How
big
was the REC meeting?
RAC meeting.
Yeah.
It was good. There's a lot of money missing out of the REC. So found out about that today. So we are gonna take action on that, because so we'll have something submitted pretty soon. Probably we'll have to go to you guys, because we do pay basically to be a part of the REC. And so there was, I guess what it was is fraudulent transactions that we're taking. What they're trying to say is it was on the bank's end, but I'm not sure how exactly, because I know like even with our bank, I can't just go cash a check and it be no biggie. So it was about $30-some thousand, something with Power School too, where they were addressing back and forth. Power
Was this
School.
the REC two, or is it
Yeah,
all the REC?
This is our REC.
REC too?
Yes, our REC. So we do have a new director though, Lisa Chacon is our new REC director. She fills in for Evan Delgado, who did retire I think he retired like in April. So she did take over as head of the director. Yeah, they're in a little mess. So it was an okay meeting. It was almost a 4-hour long meeting, but it
It's
wasn't
almost
bad.
like having a savings account.
Yeah. Anything else?